Hey, what is up, guys? We are here with the Kano character breakdown. If you haven't seen our character breakdown videos before, we talk about our character's notable normals, strings, special moves, the differences between all their variations, as well as a basic game plan. So Kano, walk speed's pretty average, run speed is fairly average. The startup is kind of long, but then he gets moving pretty quick. Kano is a very simple character, right? He's generally pretty defensive, but his variations help him switch that up a little bit. He's kind of defensive. He doesn't have a lot of moves. Like, if I go into his move list and look at his combos, you can see there's not even a whole page. And then when it comes to his special moves as well, there's not really a ton of different special moves that he can do as well. Like, he's generally a pretty basic character. So if you're looking for a character that has a pretty basic game plan, is also pretty defensive, then I would recommend Kano. That's kind of the character that I would definitely recommend you to take a look at. So let's talk about some of his normals. He has some really strong footsie tools. That standing 2 right there, that turnaround punch, very, very good. It has a string attached to it to forward 4 like that. And standing 2 is also special cancelable. He has his back 3-1, low into a mid. He has his forward 3-3, which looks like that. Double hitting attack. The first hit's a mid, second hit's a low. And he has his forward 4, which I just did. It's his flying like bazooka knee. And all of those strings and normals are special cancelable, which is very important, right? The other interesting thing about Kano is that all of his variations give him additional normals and strings. So depending on the variation you're in, you're going to have access to different normals, which means different strings and combos and mix-ups. So keep that in mind. If you want to tell the difference between Kano's different variations, look at his chest in the center glowing area here. In Cutthroat, it's blue. In Cybernetic, it is red. And Commando, it is yellow. So that's how you can tell the difference. Let's talk about some of his universal special moves. So he has his classic move, the Kano Ball, back forward 3. When you're up close, it'll hit more times, right? You get a couple of different hits, so you get some extra damage. EX version is the same kind of thing. It just has a hit armor on it. You can also do the move in the air, mid to a low. And it can be late EX into a little unblockable at the end there if it hits. So that is what his grounded Kano Ball, or his air Kano Ball looks like as well. His EX one on the ground you can hold. You can also hit down to cancel it. So that is something that is unique with grounded Kano Ball. Down back 2 is up ball. Again, up close, it hits more times. If you just do it as an anti-air, it's not going to hit as much. EX version has a hit armor, which means, you know, you can wake up with it. The other move that is universal, and his last one is Blade Toss. In Cutthroat and Commando, he has this version of the projectile. It's a high, very fast. EX version's mid, or high mid. Does 11%. Very, very strong zoning with that projectile, as well as up ball for anti-airs. It's like between those two moves, Kano is pretty defensive, and he has some pretty strong stuff. Very, very basic, strong zoning defensive character, like I mentioned. The other thing that is unique to Cutthroat, which is the variation we're in now, is a couple of different normals, notably back 1, back 2. So back 1 is this very quick step back overhead, which means he has 50-50s, right? Which his back 1 and his both of his low strings, he has 2 of them. He also has back 2, which is pretty good, or forward 2, excuse me. Forward 2, which is like a lunging mid attack, which is pretty good as well. So those are the 2 ones he gains. And they both have a string, right? So there's back 2, back 1, 2-1, and there's forward 2-1, 2. Looks like that. Forward 2 and 2 is also a launcher. So yeah, as far as his special moves in Cutthroat go, he has down back 1, which is a little running uppercut move, EX version, launcher on it, and power up, which is down 3. Now when you power up, you do additional damage to your opponent. Actually, you do a pretty significant amount of damage. Like you actually gain a lot more damage, but the thing is, you take damage over time. If you do the EX version of power up, you actually don't get that debuff to yourself that makes you take damage. So that's actually really good. You don't risk losing all that life that you do if you do the regular version, if you do this EX version of power up. So yeah, that is Cutthroat variation. Very simple. That's kind of like the classic version of Kano. Things get a little bit different when you look at Cybernetic. So we'll get into that in just a second here. As you can see, his chest glows red in this one. The grenades on his belt are also red. Cybernetic has a bunch of new strings and normals. He has his back 1-3, which looks like this. The thing about his back 1-3 is it has all of his unique normals in this lead to a different ender, right? So back 1-3, and you can either do 1 and 3, which is a throw that leaves them standing, or you can do back 1-2 or back 1-3 2+4, which is a grenade. Now the thing about this grenade ender is you can EX it and get a combo off of it, right? It does a little pop-up. He also has the universal the normal back 2 in this, which is the lunging gut punch like that. Really far range, like a really strong footsie tool. You can see how far that thing goes. It's really good. So off of his back 2, he has 1+3, Oh, wait, is it not 1+3? What is it? I thought it was 1+3. Oh, it's 3. Oh, okay, well, there we go. I messed that up. Back 1, 3, and then that is the standing reset. And again, grenade, which you can also EX. So same kind of thing as the other string. You can see it, they're universally pretty similar. As well as his forward 3-1, forward 1+3, looks like this. Throw. And you can do the same thing with a grenade too. Right? So that gives him different combo potential than the other strings, obviously, right? In his other variations, like Cutthroat has that launcher, but this one has a couple of different ways to launch if you have the bar to spend on it. As far as his special moves go, he has his down back 1, which is this move right here. Looks like that. EX version like that has a little knockback attached to it. His up laser, which is down back 3, and you can EX it if it hits. So if I set my opponent to jump, there it is. And it hits, you can late EX it like that. 16% damage on an anti-air. Pretty good, right? That's definitely not too shabby at all. And his knife toss is slightly different in this variation. It is a mid, and it's still just as fast. It's very, very quick. EX version just throws a bunch of like scattered projectiles like that. And that's pretty much cybernetic. Again, this character is, you know, pretty straightforward. You're not going to see me being like, all right, here's the fancy, crazy stuff. Kano's a pretty simple character, and I think a lot of people will enjoy characters like that, including myself. So in Commando, he's a grappler. That's kind of his thing, right? He's a little bit more rushdown heavy, a little bit more mix-up oriented with throw attacks. So he has his 1-2 +3. So that is something that's a little different in this variation that he doesn't have previously in the other Wait, did I get the wrong moves again? Did I mess this up again? It's 3-2. Oh. You know what? I totally didn't look at the right move when I was doing this. Wow, I feel like a dummy. I did that for 2 variations in a row. Wow. So, besides that, he has a couple of different counters. He has down back 3, which is a low counter. And he has down back 1, which is a high counter. So I'll show you guys what those look like. If I set the dummy to record, walk up, and I'll have him do standing 1. So yeah, that is the normal version of it. EX version looks like this. Just a little bit of extra damage on it. So if I set him to walk up down 3, I can do the other one. So the EX version, 21%. And I don't know how much the regular version does actually. Like what, like 17 or something probably? Yeah, 17% damage. So those are his 2 counters. He also has, what's it called? Down forward 1, which is a high attack. And this is like a combo ender, right? So you can juggle into that to get the knockdown at the end. So it's not actually command throw, but he does have 2 command throws in this version. So he has down back forward 4, which looks like this, right? And the EX version. And then he has down forward back 4, which is like a suplex. That one he jumps really high on the EX version. The regular version, not quite as high. And it looks like that. So this character gains a couple of command throws in favor of losing some of his tools in the other variations, right? So this one's a little bit more grappler-oriented, a little bit more rushdown-oriented. And that's Commando Kano, right? So again, this character is pretty similar. If you're wondering about his projectiles in this variation, again, it's the same as the first variation, mid and high. Only Cybernetic has the mid projectile. This one has the high, and then if you do the EX version, you have high mid. So this has been the Kano character breakdown. Very simple character, generally pretty defensive, but he's really fun, right? He has some great normals, some really great and simple special moves, not a super complicated character, and he's a lot of fun. So if you're looking for a beginner character in Mortal Kombat X, this is definitely somebody I would recommend taking a look at. Kano's really fun. He's really cool, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the breakdown. I will see you guys again soon.